Hello, hello, Rhoda here. Welcome to my craft room. Today I'm showing you the flip through of the What a Piece of Junk journal. And here's how it looks after I got the tie on it. And it's just a key that Wayne had given me. Really cool looking old key. And I used this chiffon that I got from Hobby Lobby. And I got it on sale, of course. And it just has an eyelet back here at the back cover, and I just put that in and tied it. And the blue kind of goes with some of the fence and some of the tones in here. I only had blue and I had black. So that's as close as I could get. The cover, I had to end up doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch in here. And it was to hold the cover in because the staples had come out. But when I did the cover, it's the whole front picture on the front of the calendar. It has that thicker paper, So I started gluing it here from the left side of the picture. I went around, and then I went inside of it and was able to make a little tuck in here. I just put an extra piece of paper in here to hide it. But yes, there is a tuck. And yeah, here's where the staples came out. So that's why I had to tie it. But I used a lot of the birds and blooms on these extra pieces because when you got in here and made it, you could get like 3 panels. I said 4 in the other video, and that was wrong. It's 3 panels from one of the calendar pages that will cover. You have to cut a little bit off the top and the bottom, depending on what size magazine you use. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming to visit. Thank you for coming to see how this turned out. It's really kind of cool. I really enjoyed how it ended up. I need to get me something to tuck in some pockets. All right. So some of these have little quotes on them from the birds and blooms, and I really love it. Here we have one of the garden paths. Some of them I was smart and did the 3 panels. Some of them I didn't. I was cutting it to get the picture. Here's a beautiful kind of a stellar J, I think they call him. But it turned out kind of cool. The only problem is, of course, you got the shiny from but that makes the magazine and the calendar pages kind of go together. Now here's a cool little pocket system. I really loved how it turned out. It's coasters, and it has a pocket in each one of these little places here, even all the way to the top. I haven't chose to put anything in some of these. I didn't want to bulk it up much more. Here is the cardinal flip that I did have over here. I'd messed it up because of the page back here I was going to put it on. I put the flip on the wrong side. So I had put it with another envelope, but it was too bulky. It was just that one page was so fat. So I trimmed that off, and I've got it glued here, and it's flipping here. And for some decoration in here, I don't know if you saw when I was telling you about taking all the back pictures from the calendar sheet that has the 12 months, and you can see what the pictures are. I made stamps out of them. So I used a lot of the Through the Garden ones all through here. So that's where this came from. This little pretty. But I try to get it to go with the colors. The pinks are kind of popping out, So everything kind of blended there really well. I used a lot of these just for little pages to tuck in that they could journal on. And this is a pocket from that really ugly doily. Remember that doily I was saying I wasn't sure I was going to use because it looked like mud? Well, I finally used it because it reminded me of the top of these allium balls. And it really reflects that kind of a look. And of course, there's another one of the postage stamps, the faux stamps I made. And this one over here, I went and made a pocket, little shallow pocket, out of the diamond dots. I picked the one that had the yellows and the purples, so it got the two colors there. And there, that one, I kind of wish I'd chose a different bird or I'd cut him out because the writing kind of throws me off because that really hot pink just doesn't quite get it, you know. And here's where I use some of those little papers to make a tuck. And I needed a background. Everything is just junk that I've got in here. I was amazed at what all I could find to make junk. Now here's one that I cut to get this bench just right. So the piece over here was a little shorter. So I made a tuck there. There's another faux stamp. And then I made a little tuck over here. And this one, I have a couple of doily edges. It's not the whole doily, it's just that little tip, but it kind of adds to the look. I also was looking for more items to cover the back pages, so I chose the atlas, and I got this piece that has so many different colors, but pink was one of them, and so was green, and there's some blue, so I thought that worked good, and that was a picture off of one of the pieces, and I stuck it up there like a decoration. I think there's plenty of places in here to tuck things to journal on. Now, somebody had just told me, I think it was, oh gosh, it was not Victoria, it wasn't Jody. Oh, Lorelei, I think that was you, wasn't it? That told me these were wax wings, that you saw them at your window a lot in the garden. All right, here's some pretty calla lilies, and these are red hot pokers. I have those in my garden. And here we go with, I had to add a few little bees. So I've got a bumblebee here on this pretty daisy. And then this little guy is on a piece of lupine. He's a common yellowthroat. And I thought they kind of looked like each other, didn't they? I was rich, if not in money, in sunny hours and summer days. Henry David Thoreau. And I love this pansy on there with all the different purples because it pulls me down there. This one, I know, is this shine. That's the only problem about this thing, is that shine. Now here is our bank envelope that I decorated up with this cardinal in the snow. And I thought the berries and the red kind of went with what was over here. And on the next page is a tuck. Another tuck. And that was just, I think, a scrap piece of paper from one of the other pieces. Here is our little bluebird. And what I decided to do is put one of these up here. And it was great because this blue is really close to his coat of feathers. And then I found something that said the joy of birds. And it really put more on that page, and it didn't look so plain anymore. There's a pretty little vase of flowers. Here's the envelope that I put that cardinal on the pink envelope on. And I had this other strip of paper from the Birds and Blooms. And I put that here, and that other edge of that allium ball doily. And then you flip it open. You have that little piece inside. You have another faux stamp here and another faux stamp there. Where I pieced this together, I was trying to keep your eye away from that. But I think it looks cute poking out from above there. Over here was where the envelope got glued down by gluing along the edge here and just this bottom flap. So I put this here to give it something. That was that little garden door. And then up here, and I glued it to where you actually could, I think, tuck something in that way as well. But it would be hard to do. But it's just there in case somebody wanted to. Another map page. Now, I had a junk envelope that was in the Birds and Blooms. And it had this sticker about these bird feeders. And it had green, and it had red, and it had yellow. And it's all these colors that's over here on this page. And in here as well. So I thought that really bounced around and gave me some pretty visuals. I've got the faux stamp there. Now, it ends up being two different pockets back here. And I got in here where the gussets were. And I glued the two sides of the gussets at the top together because they were giving me a fake pocket. And I would go down about that far and that's all. So I got in here and glued those together. And you've got the pocket here on the outside where you can tuck something in. Now this little guy, he takes up a little bit of room too. You know, you get some bulky items and, you know, you just got to do what you can do. Here's another pocket here with, this was one of the large pictures. When you're on the back of your calendar, there's a large picture and then there's the 12 small ones. So this is the large one of the walkway that's at the front of the journal here. Another item that I did not list that you can use for backgrounds in your journal are napkins. Now, I got a whole bunch of napkins free one time, and I'm assuming I can consider them junk. I don't know. But I did put this one in here that has the birds on it, and I had one with flowers, you'll see in a little bit. So I put that totally down here. This was a little cut off from one of the calendars, and this was one of the... Oh, God. Pork Wednesday. So I'll have to maybe put something on the back of that. Here's a pretty, I don't know what he is. I didn't cut his name out, but he's a really pretty bird. Now, where I use this, you probably see it, I guess, in a little bit. Haven't seen it yet. Oh, no, it was back here. That's right, right there. That piece that I got off the front of a mulberry paper pad, I used the rest of it right here because of the blues. I got another faux stamp, and I'd stamped this out one time on a piece of scrap, and I never used it. So I made a pocket. I like this background with all the numbers, too. That's kind of different. It makes you look over here to this and look down here. I really love the hydrangeas. And then I put an envelope tuck in here that I put the purple ham foil on. So you can see that there. And then it comes over. And here's another napkin. You can actually see through it in some places here. And you can actually make out my name. But that's okay. We also have a tuck. Instead of making the envelope where the flap side opening, I cut the whole edge off of it. So it's open all the way over here. And the other calendar that I'd done a while back that my mother-in-law gave me, this was a piece from that. And I just put that down for a pocket there. Because I thought the two little birds are really, really similar. They're almost the same bird except for the head. So I don't know if that's a related species or something. And then we have this pocket, which was done, it's a side tuck made with the diamond dots strip that came off the edge. Now I have to tell you, I got in here and glued this ham foil down with my Bearly Arts glue. And when I was going back through here and looking, I saw that it was coming up. So I had to go back over it with fabric tack, and that held it down. It's not coming up at all now. So if you put any foils down like this, please remember to use fabric tack, because the regular, I don't even know if art glitter glue would do it. And then I just have this tucked into the side to write on. I thought this page turned out so pretty. That's why I used it for my thumbnail. But these here are just gorgeous. And this word was on that page. So all I did was take a scrap piece of my, just scrap, scrap piece of my scrap, and put the splendor on there. And then I put this little extra piece of that doily. I had, like, cut that doily up I don't know how many times, and I was just using it wherever. But I had ripped it up here, so I had to cover that up. Here's the other side of that napkin that I said I won. And that's the other little calendar that I was talking about. This is pretty. It had the yellows and oranges in it. And it was hard to match that little guy up to anybody. pretty gazebo. And this is the other piece that I found to put in here. This is actually from the cover of a paper pad, an old paper pad I had. You can see all the pictures of the pages that came in it. It was called River Rock, which I thought was good, and Pathways is also good for this. It made it kind of look like it would go into a garden journal. There's another faux stamp, and here's a little sparrow. And that's another one. That was off of a piece of junk mail. It had Wings of Wonder. And that's where I had to add an extra piece, and I was trying to hide it. And here is the picture on the front. And then that goes around to here, and I put Mr. Owl. I thought he kind of had a tree here, and he was hiding behind a piece of tree, or a tree trunk. So I put him on this side, and I thought the greens and the browns kind of went. And I wanted to add a pop of red, and I had this one faux stamp left, and I thought, oop, that's where he needs to go. He looks really wise, doesn't he? I know a lot of you love owls. And that's what my husband got me for a calendar this year. He got me an owl calendar with all different ones. And here we go. This is like the garden door that I said this key could belong to. So that's why it kind of tied into the rest of this. Around here was just like a little collage. I have a woodpecker. He was on a strip that on the back side of a piece that I had got to go on a panel over here. I had this one little sliver left over. Had that little piece that I was going to use for a pocket, and I wanted to cover up the wording underneath of the woodpecker. And I left that there because I thought that was cute. So there we go. That is it. This is my last page. There's my garden gate. I think this is still the garden gate page, but I love the gate. That's really pretty. And then it just goes shut like that. So there you go. You need to get out there, find you a magazine, and make you a junk journal. And just use whatever you've got around the house. Pieces of junk mail. It could just be the words off of junk mail. I used a magazine. I used a calendar. I used an old paper pad front. I used coasters, envelopes, doilies, pieces of a little planner that I had. Then diamond dot, whatever you want to call it, strip. I'm not sure what you'd call that. But that's what I did. I just kept finding more maps from an atlas. It was amazing once I started digging around what I actually had to use. And a bank envelope. Now, see, I kept a bucket of all these different pieces of trash. And then I went and just put them all together. Picked out what I wanted to use. I didn't use them all. Another envelope. And then here is a pharmacy bag, medicine pocket. A sticker from an envelope. That was just a cutout that I didn't use for nothing. Napkin. And ham foil from a ham. I don't think I had anything extra back here. No, that was just another calendar. So yeah, it was just fun. I had never tried before. It was the front of a paper pad. Some of them you can really get some good pieces off of. If I wanted to, I could probably have made some tags if I had the front of a paper pad I had already cut down. Like Stamperia makes wonderful ones. So all you do is to put your tie on here as you wind it around a few times. And then you just kind of tuck it in to one of the top ones. And then pull it out again. I got a little bit of a tail there. And there we go. I really want to thank you, my subscribers and viewers, for coming by to visit. This is sort of a short video. But, yeah, I just wanted to share my little journal with you. I guess she'll be going to the shop now. All right, everybody, have a great, great day. I got to get out there and get breakfast going, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.